when it comes down to a payment plan, I believe that the way people traditionally do payment plans, it usually leaves very little incentive for people to actually honor the payment plan. As we know, when a person is going through a bankruptcy, being flush with cash or having a ton of cash typically isn't the standard or the normal. A lot of times, when a person is going through bankruptcy, depending on what type of bankruptcy it is, they may have to ask for a different type of payment plan for the legal services that they are receiving. So, here's some advice that I would give a bankruptcy firm when it comes down to that. The first thing that I always say when it comes to pricing is you want to be upfront and you want to be clear about what the pricing is. Now, if this is a situation where this person needs a payment plan or they're not able to pay all of it up front, you have to evaluate whether it still is a good case for your firm to take on or whether your firm can actually afford to take this case on using different payment terms. Now, if you do have to use different payment terms where they can't pay all up front, here's some recommendations I would give. The first one I would give is what you would probably want to do is you would want to aim for front loading as much of the payment plan as possible. And what I mean by this is maybe asking for a smaller upfront or down payment, and then the rest of the bill gets spread over a certain amount of time. And of course, the shorter the time frame, the better. So let's say if the bill is $7,000. Well, if you ask for $2,000 up front and then you spread the other 5,000 over the next, 5 months, then that can be a great win-win. Now, the key to when spreading those additional or the remaining balance over the months, what you want to make sure that you try to aim to do is don't make the amount of months they have to pay longer than it would take for you to support the case. Because what you tend to find with a lot of law firms is if their payment plan is still going after the case has been settled, it tends to lower the likelihood that they're going to actually pay. Because for them, if the case is settled, they may be thinking like, why am I still paying for something that is still done? Although they should have paid up front, customers don't always think about it that way. Now, the second thing that I want to say is if they're not able to do the larger down payment upfront and then spread out the rest is then maybe we can go right into a payment plan. So what I like to recommend is that we front load the payment plan, meaning if this payment plan is going to be for 5 months, well, the payments are going to start off much higher on the first 2 months. Now, if you have been consistent, let's say over the first 2 to 3 months, then the final payments, what we will do is we'll reduce it. We'll say, all right, if you have a bill that is $5,000, what I would say is in month one, I need $1,500 in month one. I need $1,500 in month two, which means that's $3,000 within 2 months, which means the final 3 months, we're going to spread out the other $2,000. But if you have been consistently making your payments, I might say, hey, well, for month three, we're going to reduce it from 1,500 down to a lower number. Because what that does is it gives them an incentive to actually make the larger payments up front. Because if they have an incentive to say, hey, if I consistently make my payments on time and I pay the amount that I should pay in the first 2 months, the last 3 months, my payment will be lower each month, which is something that they'll probably appreciate because it gives them an incentive to want to pay their bill on time and to pay the amount that they were asked to pay. Because a lot of times I'll see with the firm is that they will set a payment plan and let's say they spread it out. They say it's $1,000 a month for the next 5 months. Well, the person misses month one or the person is late on month two. Well, at this point, it's just like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Because you're still working on their case. They have no real built-in incentive other than, them being true to their word or them honoring the agreement that they made. But if you switch it around to say, hey, the first 2 months, the payment is going to be higher. If you make those first two payments, we will lower the monthly payment in month 3, month 4, and month 5 if you honor and meet the right payment level in month 1 and 2, because that will build in a built-in incentive. Plus, it will help your firm get more money closer to the front end of the contract instead of you having to stretch it out over time. Because as a firm, you need to think about the cash flow for your firm. Because yes, it's great that you can provide the legal support, but if your firm does not have enough cash coming in to really cover your operations, your salary for your staff, and all of your costs, you're not going to be able to stick around to actually provide the bankruptcy services to your other clients. So you want to make sure that you're coming up with payment plans, if necessary, that are a little more front loaded and that give people more of an incentive to make their payments and honor their payment agreements so that you're not left holding the losses, or you're not left at the end of the case having to write off revenue that you should have been able to recognize had they paid when they said they were. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Bankruptcy Law Firm Finance Show. At the end of the day, we make finance less complicated so you can build a more profitable law firm. If this was helpful for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and follow us for more great content.